Good morning, friends and family. Excited to see you again digitally here. Today we have a lesson from Colossians chapter 1, verses 9 through 14. There's always been a word that I struggled with inside our English language. It's not because it's a big word or anything else like that. It's just because it's a very difficult word for me to express properly. In that is the word pride. And from that you have words that are similar, like the word proud. Both those words are really difficult for me because sometimes there's pride that you take in yourself and that becomes boastful or becomes about you and it becomes arrogant. But at the same time, too, it's good to take some pride in yourself, then to take some ownership of all the good stuff that you're doing. And it's difficult because it's the same word and it means the same thing, but it's just used differently. I struggle with the word proud as well too. I always find it kind of funny or interesting. It could just be me, but I always find it really cute when uh, somebody goes and takes their kid out for ice cream because they're so proud of them that they graduated from kindergarten. And then I always pause and think about it. One, we're using the word graduated, uh, but two, we're also using the word proud in a situation where, to me, it's just not where I would use the word proud. I think it's awesome. I think it's great. I'm really happy for the kid. I'm happy for the child, but I don't use the word proud lightly. And so when I sit there and I think about a kid that still needed to get their shoes helped put on and they had to have their clothes laid out for them in the morning and probably needed their teeth brushed and then they needed to hold hands when they walked in the hallway and they needed to uh, sit in certain seats and they learned colors and shapes and very small little things and they succeeded in learning those things because that's what they could handle, that we're really proud of them that they graduated kindergarten. I'm really proud of kids when they graduate high school. I'm not trying to downplay them or try to be this evil mean pastor, but it's just always fun and interesting to me. Paul, on the other hand, is really proud of the Colossians. He's excited to write this letter to them because they are facing an uphill battle and they're still bearing fruit and they're still being faithful to Jesus Christ. The battle they're facing is false teachings about Christ. The people in their area are trying to teach that Jesus was not God. And these Christians are teaching that Jesus was God as we knew Jesus to be and as we know Jesus to be today. That's why when we start with verse 9, it says, "For this reason, since the day we heard it, we have not ceased praying for you and asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of God's will and all spiritual wisdom and understanding." Like today, God is feeding you. God is working with you. God is giving you as much as you can handle. And as we looked at these kindergartners before, it's a huge task for them to learn their shapes, to learn their colors, to do what they're supposed to do, to follow in line, to treat others right, to learn social responsibilities. They're being fed what they can handle. Likewise, with the Colossians, they're being fed what they can handle, and Paul's asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of God's will and all spiritual wisdom and understanding. That God keeps pouring into you, into your knowledge and understanding of the world and the wisdom that God has for you. Verse 10 continues and says that so that you may lead lives worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to Him, as you bear fruit in every good work, and as you grow in the knowledge of God. Verse 11, may you be made strong with all the strength that comes from His glorious power. But wait, there's more. Just think about that. There's going to be more. The next word that I'm going to read from the scripture is that the word "and." But first, that God made strong all the strength that comes from His glorious power. That's more than enough for us. There's more, though. There's more that God has for us. Not only that God's glorious power be strengthening to us, Verse 11 says, and may you be prepared to endure everything with patience while joyfully giving, verse 12 here, giving thanks to the Father who has enabled you to share in an inheritance of the saints in the light. Prepared for patience? I never dreamed of being in the situation we are today, and I never wanted to be in the situation we are today, but I am patiently waiting for the time where things go back to what our norm used to be. And I know that our norm won't ever be the same because norms change all the time. But I'm prepared to endure this. I've been given the patience, and I've been giving it joyfully, giving joyful thanks to God the Father, who also, beyond the glorious power that God's given us, the patience that God's given us, the preparation that God has been doing for us, I also get to inherit all that the saints had before me. Verse 13, I also get to experience that He has rescued us from the power of darkness and transformed us into the kingdom of His beloved Son. I get all of that and the kingdom of heaven. Verse 14, and it ends with this, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. So not only do we get the power and the glorious power that strengthens us from God, but from verse 11b all the way through, it says that, and you may be prepared to endure everything with patience, with joyfully giving thanks to the Father who has enabled you to share in the inheritance of the saints in the light. He has rescued us from the power of darkness and transformed us into the kingdom of His beloved Son, in whom He has redemption, the forgiveness of sins, the power, the glory, heaven, the forgiveness of sins. Light in the darkness has all been given to us, and it's not been taken away. It's still there for us. And when we get there, the very end of our time here on earth, because our salvation began when we accepted it. When we get to heaven, not only are we there, not only do we get to live and experience light on earth, and not only do we get to experience God's magnificent and glorious power and God's grace and all that the saints had laid out for us, God will turn and look to us and say, you are my good and faithful servant. Blessings to us all.